Okay, let's jump right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going to unpack the fascinating, kind of hidden mechanics of one of Africa's absolute most critical crossroads. Now, when we think of massive, globe-spanning aviation hubs, our minds usually just jump straight to the usual suspects, right? London, Dubai, maybe Atlanta. But today, we are looking at a total masterclass in geographic leverage, Mohammed V International Airport in Casablanca, Morocco. We're going to see why this isn't just an airport, it's practically a perfectly positioned global cheat code.
Think about this for a second. Let's say you're flying from New York, or maybe Montreal, and you're trying to get to West Africa. How do you do that without getting completely stuck in a sprawling, congested European megahub? Because for decades, if you wanted to get to sub-Saharan Africa from North America, you had to backhaul. Basically, you'd have to fly way up north to Paris or Frankfurt, navigate some massive, overwhelming terminal, and then fly all the way back down south again. Honestly, it was exhausting. It was incredibly inefficient. While Casablanca is the exact geographic solution that perfectly solves this annoying traveler's dilemma.
Which brings us to Section 1, the Global Bridge. So, Mohammed V International Airport, known by its airport code CMN, is named after King Mohammed V, the Sultan who famously led Morocco to independence. But beyond that really rich historical namesake, the facility itself essentially acts as a vital, physical bridge. It connects North Africa straight into Europe, the Middle East, the Americas, and sub-Saharan Africa. It is quite literally the ultimate geographic shortcut.
And what is truly mind-blowing here is the sheer volume of human movement we're talking about. 10 to 11 million passengers pass through these gates every single year. That is a massive number, and it totally cements Casablanca's rank as one of the top 5 busiest airports on the entire African continent. But here's the kicker. This isn't just a point A to point B destination. A massive chunk of those millions are transit passengers who are actively leveraging that geographic bridge we just talked about.
So, how exactly does a single airport handle that kind of highly specific, localized, and global traffic all at exactly the same time? Well, it relies on 3 very distinct airline networks that operate in perfect synergy. First up, you've got the primary global hub, Royal Air Maroc. The national flag carrier bases its entire worldwide heavy-duty network right here. Then you've got Royal Air Maroc Express. That's their regional subsidiary, and they use these high-frequency turboprops to constantly connect Casablanca to domestic hotspots like Marrakesh, Fez, and Agadir. And finally, rounding it all out is Air Arabia Maroc. This is a massive low-cost base that deploys budget-friendly flights to connect Morocco directly to second- and third-tier metropolitan areas all across Western Europe, places in Italy, Spain, and France.
And this whole setup brilliantly illustrates how global alliances can completely change the game. When Royal Air Maroc made its highly anticipated entry into the One World Alliance, it essentially transformed Casablanca into an absolute strategic stronghold. It meant that mega carriers like American Airlines, British Airways, and Qatar Airways could suddenly funnel their passengers straight into Casablanca. From there, those travelers seamlessly connect onto Royal Air Maroc's really dense network of over 40 different destinations across West and Central Africa. It really is like a highly choreographed global ballet.
Moving on to Section 2, seamless basement rail connectivity. Because what if Casablanca isn't just your layover? What if it's actually your final destination? If you are the kind of traveler who absolutely hates the chaos of airport buses and totally confusing taxi ranks, which, let's be honest, is pretty much all of us, this next part is the ultimate insider travel hack.
The crucial point here is just how brilliantly simple this infrastructure is. Step 1. You land and clear customs at Terminal 1. Easy enough. Step 2. Instead of wandering out to some crowded, noisy curb, you simply walk over and descend directly into the basement level of the terminal. Step 3, you just board the Al Bidawi train, which is seamlessly integrated into the national ONCF rail network. And Step 4, let's say you're heading north, you can easily transfer right onto the Al Borak bullet train and shoot straight up to Tangier. There are 0 complex bus puzzles to solve here. The train station is quite literally built into the foundation of the airport.
And because of that super direct basement-level access, you are looking at just 35 to 40 minutes to be whisked straight into Casablanca's central stations, Casa Voyageurs and Casa Port. Boom, you're in the city. It's a level of incredibly rapid transit integration that, frankly, a lot of major US and European airports are still completely struggling to figure out today.
That brings us to Section 3, High-Tech meets Arabesque. This is where we get to look at how Casablanca beautifully blends cutting-edge modern engineering with an incredibly rich cultural heritage.
Before we dive into the aesthetics, though, we need to understand the functional split of the place. Terminal 1 is the heavily modernized, updated international stronghold. It's the absolute flagship base for Royal Air Maroc, and it handles the massive, heavy-duty global transit flow. Meanwhile, Terminal 2 comfortably shares the operational burden. It acts as the dedicated hub for those short-haul European carriers and the quick domestic hops across Morocco. It's a very clean, incredibly logical division of labor.
But what's really fascinating is how that heavily modernized Terminal 1 actually looks and feels. They didn't just build another sterile, soulless glass box. They heavily utilized arabesque architecture. This is a traditional Moroccan design heritage, known for these elegant sweeping lines, really soft geometric forms, and beautiful, subtle tiling. So as you're walking through the terminal, all that high-tech steel and glass functionality is softened by authentic Islamic craftsmanship. It ensures that even if you're only there for a 2-hour layover, you fundamentally know, without a doubt, that you are in Morocco.
But make no mistake, beneath those elegant, sweeping tiles lies some seriously heavy-duty engineering. Let's talk numbers. 3,720 meters. That is the exact length of the 2 active parallel asphalt runways at CMN. Just to put that in perspective for you, these runways are built long enough and tough enough to simultaneously handle absolute maximum takeoff weight behemoths. We're talking monsters of the sky like the Boeing 747-8 and the Airbus A350. It is a massive, massive operational footprint.
Which actually leads us perfectly into a fascinating piece of history in Section 4, from bombers to wide-bodies. Because the modern commercial hub you casually walk through today actually has some deeply hidden, highly strategic military roots.
If we trace the timeline all the way back to 1943, following Operation Torch in World War II, the United States military originally built this site as an airfield. It served as a major staging area for Allied cargo planes. But then, as the world shifted into the tense early Cold War years, the site leveled up. It operated as the Newisser Air Base. And guys, this wasn't just some basic dusty airstrip. It was a highly strategic U.S. Air Force installation fully capable of handling nuclear-armed B-47 Stratojet bombers. Wild, right? It wasn't until the late 1950s that the base was finally handed over to Moroccan civil authorities to slowly become the bustling commercial hub it is today.
Okay, so we've covered the wild history, the awesome geographic hacks, and the massive runway engineering. But let's bring it back down to a human level for a second. You've skipped the chaotic European mega-hubs to save a bunch of time. But what is the actual physical layover like for you, the passenger?
Let's dive right into Section 5, the ultimate layover experience. Because skipping a miserable layover is really only half the battle, right? Actually, enjoying the one you specifically chose is the real win here.
So the absolutely crucial point here is escaping that generic copy-paste airport feeling. Usually, duty-free means staring at the exact same global chocolate brands and perfumes, literally no matter what country you're standing in. Casablanca completely breaks that mold. Passengers spending time here have access to massive duty-free sectors that actually spotlight authentic local products. We are talking premium organic argan oils, incredibly beautiful Moroccan leather crafts, and traditional spices. You can literally shop a mini souk while you're just waiting for your connection to Dakar or New York.
And hey, if you have lounge access, the whole experience elevates even further. The heavily praised Casablanca Lounge in Terminal 1 is a major standout. Now, yes, it absolutely offers the standard fast truck security benefits you'd expect, but what really sets it apart is the sensory experience. You are served authentic, locally catered Moroccan tagines and poured hot, fresh mint tea. It is such a brilliant, almost surreal contrast to think that a piece of land that literally once hosted Cold War nuclear bombers is now serving up warm, comforting tagines to everyday global travelers. Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on today. If a single airport, sitting right there on the northwestern tip of Africa, can seamlessly connect global megacities, harbor a crazy history of nuclear bombers, and serve up authentic tagines directly over a high-speed rail line, what other hidden transit crossroads are out there right now, quietly reshaping exactly how we travel the world? It really does make you look at your next flight itinerary just a little bit differently, doesn't it? Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me today, and keep questioning how the world connects.